Hello everybody, welcome to BIO181. I hope you enjoyed that video montage of me and my family, both my human family and my fur family. My name is Christine Stevenson, and I will be your instructor for this semester of BIO181, General Biology 1. This video is going to get you oriented to the class and understand all of the requirements and the schedule, how it all works. But before I dive into those details, I wanted to bring your attention to a few important pieces of information, including my email, which is one of a few ways that you can communicate with me. My email is christine.stevenson1@centralaz.edu. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me via email. You can also send me messages through Blackboard, and you can also communicate with me using an app called Remind that I am going to describe a little bit more later. And I also want to bring to your attention my office hours, which are going to be this semester for your class Mondays from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. by appointment. There's going to be a link on Blackboard where you can easily schedule those appointments with me, and that's for meeting with me one-on-one via video conferencing if you need extra help or if you have any questions. I'm available during that window, and I also have other windows of availability throughout the week, but you'll have to reach out to me to ask about those. So before we go any further, let's talk a little bit about the format of this class. You are enrolled in an asynchronous online course, and what that means is that the course takes place entirely online, and asynchronous means that you don't have to log in at any particular time to complete the course requirements. You can complete them at any time as long as you are achieving the due dates that are laid out in the class. So we don't have synchronous lectures where you have to log in and watch simultaneously with other students, for example. You can complete them on your own time. The lecture videos are all going to be posted online. I record them, I post them online. They're on my YouTube channel and linked on Blackboard for you to watch. And the labs, because this is a lab course, will be completed at home using lab kits consisting of materials that will be shipped to you. And you'll have to place an order for those lab kits in a way that works a little bit differently from other materials. It's not like a normal course material where you can order it through the bookstore. So I'll talk about how you do that in just a second. The materials required for this course, obviously, since it's an online course, you'll have to be accessing Blackboard and your CAC student email. You want to make sure that you're checking those things regularly for announcements that I post, as well as email communications that I send to you guys or Blackboard messages. So make sure you're keeping your eye on those things. We also have a textbook for this course. It's called OpenStax Biology, the second edition, or 2E. This textbook is actually a free open access textbook. And so that means that you can access it online or as a PDF that you can download at the link that I have on the screen here, but there's also going to be a link posted on Blackboard as well. And so I recommend that you try to get by with the free online or PDF version of the textbook. If necessary, though, you can also purchase a hard copy of this textbook from the CAC bookstore. But given that the free option is free, I recommend trying to use the free option first before you resort to purchasing a hard copy of it. You're also going to need a webcam for this class, and that's because our assessments or exams are going to be proctored using the webcam. And you will also need, as I mentioned, that laboratory kit, that set of materials that is going to allow you to complete experiments at home. So I will talk about how to order your lab kits and how the exams are going to be proctored. But before I do that, I'm just going to give a quick overview of the assignments that are going to be taking place in this course. This course does have exams, it has tests, and it has 4 of them. Each of them is worth 100 points for a total of 400. You also will have 15 lab activities or experiments that you'll be conducting. Essentially, that's going to break down to 1 activity for every week of the semester, except for the last week when we have final exams. Those are each worth 20 points, and so that makes up another 300 points of the total class. And then you will also have study guides that are worth 10 points each. And these study guides will break down roughly one per week, and they correspond to the material that we're learning each week, and they essentially tell you what's going to be on the exam um, from that material that we've learned that week. So 15 of those, 10 points each, 150 points for the study guides. Now, all of these things are going to be due on the same day and time every single week. The universal due date for this class is going to be Monday mornings at 9 a.m. That's true for every type of assignment that is assigned during a given week. You have the whole week to complete it, you have the whole weekend to complete it, and it's not due until Monday morning at 9 a.m. This is true of everything except for the final exam. The final exam works a little bit differently. The final exam is going to be due on a Thursday, that last week of the semester, when we get into December. So let's talk a little bit more about the exams. For exams, they're all taken on Blackboard in the comfort of your home. You are going to be using software called Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor in order to have those exams proctored using your webcam. What Respondus Lockdown Browser does is it freezes your screen so that you can't navigate away from the exam window while you are taking the exam. In other words, once you start the exam, you're locked in and you have to finish that exam before you are allowed to navigate away. Respondus Monitor uses your webcam to ensure that you are being honest, that academic integrity is being maintained during the exams, because the exams are not open note. You do have to study and memorize material for the exams and know that information by heart. Obviously, in order to use this software, you need to have a laptop that has a webcam. Um, and so if you are in a situation that you don't have that device available to you, or perhaps you have a laptop but you just need a webcam, you can borrow a laptop or a webcam for free from CAC for the duration of the semester. CAC has a whole supply of laptops available. However, this is a first come, first served opportunity. So if you are a student who needs to borrow a laptop, you can check it out for the entire semester. You don't have to bring it back until the semester is over. But the way that you can get access to that is by sending an email to loaner.equipment@centralaz.edu. That is the email where you should send your information and that you are interested in checking out a laptop for the semester. Now, the Respondus lockdown browser and monitor software that we're using to proctor exams is pretty straightforward and easy to use. But what I don't want to happen is you get to the first exam and find out then that there's technical difficulties or that you're unfamiliar with how it works. And so I have on Blackboard a Respondus guide, which you can see right here, a document that explains how the software works, which I'd like you to read through. And then after reading through that guide, I need you to download the software here and take a short practice test to make sure that everything is working properly. This is a short 5-question quiz that has questions in it that the answers to which can be found in the Respondus guide right here. Even if you've used Respondus before, you still need to download and go through the practice test because they periodically update your software. So even if you've used it last semester, for example, you want to download again because you want the most updated version of the software on your computer. Now, what about the content of the exams themselves? So, all 4 of the exams are going to have a 1-week window in which you can complete them, except for the final, which is going to have a slightly shorter window because of the way that final exams work. You'll also have 45 minutes to complete the exam in a single sitting, meaning that once you start the exam, you have to finish it within 45 minutes of when you started it. You can't close out of it and come back to it later. This is the only type of assignment that works this way. With all the other types of assignments, with the labs, the study guides, you can exit out of them and return to them as needed. Exams, you cannot. The exams for the first three will cover only the previous unit. But the fourth exam, the final, is comprehensive, meaning that it will take a little bit of information from all of the topics we've covered this semester, but there will be a study guide for that final exam that will help you narrow down what you should focus on when you are preparing for it so that you're not overwhelmed with too much information. The format of the exams will all be the same. Exams 1 through 3 and the final exam will all contain 40 multiple choice and or matching questions that are worth 2 points each, along with 3 to 6 short answer questions that altogether, those 3 to 6 short answer questions will be worth 20 points, and that will add up to 100 points for each of the 4 exams. Now, when it comes to the other types of assignments in the class, you have the lab assignments and the study guides. The lab assignments will consist of 15 activities or experiments that are worth 20 points each, and these will be completed at home using your free lab kits that you'll order. And these will involve carrying out an activity at home, setting something up, and then taking pictures of the results of the experiment and uploading them to Blackboard, along with answering some questions associated with that laboratory activity. It's important to note that some of the materials that you use to carry out these experiments will have to be provided by you. For example, there are certain labs that we'll be doing that require a fresh produce item. There's a lab that requires cabbage. There's a lab that requires some spinach leaves. There's a lab that requires strawberries. These are things that can't be shipped to you in your lab kits because by the time you got around to using those items, they would no longer be usable. They have to be fresh. And so there are some items that you will have to provide in every lab protocol. You will have a document like the one on the right-hand side that gives instructions for how to complete the lab. The first page will consist of a section where you can see which items from your lab kit are needed, as well as a list of any items that you will need to supply. Most of the time, these are things that you already have on hand. For example, in this one, we can see that you have to use distilled water, you have to use a lamp or a windowsill, a timer, and a camera to document your results. For this one, we also need 3 spinach leaves. So on the chance that there's something needed for that lab that you have to provide that you may not have at home already, I always recommend looking at your lab protocol at the beginning of the week because you may not have something on hand and you don't want to get to the end of the week, you don't want to get to Sunday night and find out that you need spinach leaves for this lab and you don't have them and you don't have an opportunity to get them because now you're up against the deadline for when the lab is due. So always take a look at these protocols at the beginning of the week. That way you can formulate a plan to get the materials you need if you have to provide something yourself. Now, for the lab kits, for the items that you don't have to provide, you are going to be ordering those not through the CAC bookstore, but by using a form on Blackboard that has been linked in the Start Here folder. And I'll point that out to you when I go over Blackboard and do our Blackboard tour at the end of this video. You will need to fill out that form on Blackboard to order your kit, and it will be shipped to you by our science department, not from the CAC bookstore. That's why we have a separate form for it. You need to make sure that you fill out this form by the very latest Wednesday, August 24th. But the earlier you can get that form filled out, the better. It does take time for the kits to ship to you, and I'm happy to be flexible with due dates for the lab activities if it's taking a long time for your kit to arrive. However, the earlier you submit your form on Blackboard, the better, because that way we can get the kit shipped out to you sooner. The last major category of assignments in this class are the study guides. There are going to be 15 study guides worth 10 points each, and they are due on a weekly basis when we run through our material for the week. They are based on the lecture content. So you'll watch a lecture video and you will answer the questions that appear in the study guide. They will be based on the information that is presented in the lecture video. These study guides are going to take the form of a Word document. They're all on Blackboard, so what you want to do is download that Word document, type your answers in, and then you will go back to Blackboard and reattach to submit your study guide. I will then go through your study guide and I will look at all of your answers and I will provide you with any feedback necessary on those answers because these study guides are super important. They are your picture into what is going to be tested on the exams. There is no funny business. There is a direct correlation between what is in the study guide and what is on the exam. So if you know the information in the study guide, you will do well on the exam. But that means that you have to make sure you have the right answers in the study guide. And so I will give you feedback on each of those answers in the study guide and return it to you if anything doesn't look quite right. That way you have all of the correct answers as you are preparing for the exam. And then lastly, this is not considered a major assignment category, but there are going to be extra credit opportunities every week, and those are going to be embedded in the lectures that you guys are watching each week. The lecture videos will feature what I call checkpoint questions, and these are slides in my presentation that will be labeled as such, like you see on the screen. They'll have checkpoint listed at the top, and then there will be a question on the slide. And when you reach this point in one of the videos, in one of the lecture videos, what you want to do is pause the video and answer the question. So you want to have a piece of paper ready or you want to have a Word document open so that you can answer these checkpoint questions as you are moving through the lecture video. And then you're going to ultimately end up submitting those on Blackboard so that I can grade them and give you feedback. And for every checkpoint question that you answer in these lecture videos on a weekly basis, you get 1/10 of a point back. So, in other words, if you answer 10 checkpoint questions correctly during a lecture video, that means you get 1 point back. And usually this equates to maybe approximately 4 to 5% bonus on your exam score. To put it in perspective, if you complete all of the checkpoint questions during a unit. So that covers our different types of assignments and their requirements. Now let's talk about a few other course policies that I want you to be aware of. One of them is the attendance policy. Because this is an online course, attendance is measured a little bit differently than in a traditional course. If you submit assignments during a week, meaning you show signs of participation in the course, you are considered to be present. If not, and you don't submit anything that's due during a given week, you will be marked as absent. If you do not participate and are considered absent for 2 consecutive weeks without notifying me, then you will be withdrawn from the course. So it's very important that you communicate with me. If you know that there's going to be a reason why you are absent and not participating for a certain period of time, let me know, because this 2 week policy is a CAC wide policy where I, as the instructor, am obligated to drop you if you don't show up or you don't participate for 2 consecutive weeks. If you let me know, I'm not going to drop you, but you have to communicate with me. You just have to tell me that. Also, this isn't really an attendance matter, but also good to know, late assignments will receive a 10% deduction for every day that they are late, meaning that if you forget about an assignment that's due on a Monday and then you get it done and turn it in on Tuesday, you will receive 10% of those points deducted from the top, but you still have the potential to get up to 90% of those points on the assignment. And so it's almost always a better idea to still do your assignments, even if you have to turn them in late, because the 10% deduction often makes only a small difference if you can get those assignments in quickly past the due date. Okay, academic integrity. This is a topic that's very, very important to me as an instructor. It's very important to me that each of you is carrying out your assignments in this course with integrity. All of the written assignments, including exams, are going to be screened by SafeAssign software. And that means that they are going to be run through a database that will check them against other students' assignments to make sure that there hasn't been a duplication of anyone's work. And it will also check those assignments against the entire World Wide Web. So it will check to make sure that none of the answers have been copied from sources on the internet. Plagiarism is not tolerated in this class. Everything has to be written in your own words. So it's not acceptable to search for your answers on Google and then copy and paste answers from, for example, Wikipedia or other sources. You want to make sure that you are relying only on our lecture materials and the information that you find in the textbook rather than Googling and then copying answers from sources on the internet. I promise you that if this does happen, it will be caught by SafeAssign, the screening software that checks your answers against other sources on the internet. So don't even go there. And if you are not sure how to put things in your own words, if this is something you've never been asked to do before, that's no problem. You just have to reach out to me and I can help you with working on how to phrase things in your own way to reflect your own original understanding of a topic. Given that academic integrity is so important, there are some infractions for violating these policies. The first infraction is going to result in a score of 0 on the assignment, and if there are repeated infractions after that point, in other words, if plagiarism occurs multiple times, then the second infraction will result in failure of the course, not just the assignment, but the course due to academic dishonesty. So again, if you're not sure how to phrase things in your own words, come to me. I can help you with it, but you don't want to get into these infractions. Lastly, if you have any special circumstances that apply to you as a student, for example, if you are a student athlete who has certain sanctioned absences, or if you are registered for accessibility accommodations, please let me know as soon as you can. And lastly, I have some tips for being successful in this course. One of them is to make sure that you don't fall behind. In these online courses, sometimes it can be easy to forget about them, sort of out of sight, out of mind, and let them slip by the wayside. Make sure that you don't do that. Make sure that you're checking Blackboard and your email regularly for any announcements or updates. Make sure that you stay on top of your checkpoints. You don't want to miss those extra credit opportunities, as well as the study guides. And maybe most importantly, ask for my help. If you need help, I am available. You can email me, you can send me messages on Blackboard, and you can visit my virtual office hours for extra help and tutoring appointments if necessary. Communication with me is extremely important, even though we're not physically in the same space together in this online class. And one very easy way that you can communicate with me is by joining our class on Remind. Remind is an app that I have on my phone that allows me to send messages back and forth to you on your phone. You do not have to download the app. Instead, you can join our class on Remind by simply texting this information to this number that you see on the screen at BIO181 CAC. Text it to the number 81010, and that will allow you to join our class on Remind and send messages that go directly to the app on my phone, and I can send those messages back to you. They appear to you as text messages. Another benefit of joining Remind is that every week, the day before an assignment is due, you will get a text to your phone that tells you what is due the following day. So this is a way to help you never forget which assignments are due and when. So now that we've run through all of the important types of assignments and policies for this class, I have a little first week to-do list to sort of summarize what needs to be accomplished during your first week in Bio 181. First, you want to make sure that you order your lab kits using that form that's on Blackboard. You want to make sure that you complete the first lab, which is Introduction to the Laboratory, and you don't actually need to have your kit on hand in order to complete this activity. This activity involves answering some questions pertaining to safety information about the materials in your kit, but you don't need to have your kit in hand in order to complete this. I also am going to be conducting meet and greet sessions with each of you on a one-on-one basis. You do get points in order or as a result of meeting with me on a one-on-one basis during the first week. So there's a link on Blackboard for you to sign up for a one-on-one session with me. You also want to make sure you download the Respondus software and complete the practice test. And between those three items together, the first lab quiz, the meet and greet session, and the practice test for the Respondus software, those three items together will make up 20 points, and that will consist of your first lab grade. You also want to make sure that you read through the syllabus and complete the syllabus contract and questionnaire. There is a link on Blackboard for you to fill out a short form telling me a little bit more about yourself and your circumstances after you've read the syllabus, so make sure you do that. And then we also have our Chapter 1 lecture and checkpoints. This might seem like it is a lot of information, but after this first week, once we get some of this housekeeping stuff out of the way, we'll fall into a much more regular schedule where we complete one lab each week and one lecture each week. So the last thing I want to do in this video is to give you a quick preview of what our Blackboard looks like and walk you through how everything is set up here. So if you found this video, you probably either did so through my announcement or by finding it in the Start Here folder on Blackboard. The Start Here folder contains all of the information that you need to get oriented in the class. So here we see our syllabus, printable version of the schedule. Once you have familiarized yourself with the syllabus, you want to open this link right here and complete the syllabus contract and questionnaire. Here's the link where you can sign up for a meet and greet session with me. Here is the link where you can order your lab kit, the guide for Respondus, where you take the practice test, and here is an additional link where you can join our class on Remind if you have not already done so. Lastly, here is the link to our textbook, the open, free version of it that you can access online. After that first folder, there are going to be weekly folders. Your assignments for each week are already laid out here. There's going to be a consistent pattern where in each week we have a lecture video, a link for uploading the answers to your checkpoints, the study guide, which you will download as a Word document and then re-upload with your answers, a folder containing the lab activity for the week, including instructions and an assignment that you complete after you have conducted the experiment. And then lastly, there will always be a link here where you can schedule an office hours appointment with me, but these are optional. You don't have to do this each week. This is on a need basis. I think that about covers it. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sitting through this long video. If you have questions, please reach out to me, but otherwise I look forward to seeing each of you in our one-on-one meet and greet sessions.